So today I'm going to share with you on how I train for Boston on 3 days a week of running. I have a hip labrum tear, which doesn't allow me to do heavy mileage. So running 3 days a week is the best way that I know how to be able to run an effective marathon. So let's talk about these 3 runs that I do each week. So every Tuesday I meet with my track coach, Coach Sergio Soto of the Strides NYC running team. Back in October, I knew that I needed to get faster in preparation for Boston. So 6 months ago, I reached out to Coach Sergio through a friend who had told me that he was a great coach, humble guy, great energy, and a local competitive elite runner. And that if I wanted to get faster, he was the guy to help me. So I started working with Sergio, and he coached me to a 1:29 half marathon in December. So that helped set me up for the goal that I currently have, which is a 3:08 marathon. So working with Sergio, every time that we get together, he has helped me get better at my running form, has worked with me to do running drills before each workout that we do. One of the techniques that he used, because my hands were always flapping around when I'd run, is putting his keys in my hands. He was like, "Here, hold these," and like had me hold keys, and that helped me to be better with holding my hands in these 2 fists when I run. He's just really encouraging. He, screams at me on the track and helps me to stay motivated and excited about running. And so I have continued to work with him on every Tuesday at the Armory, and that's my Tuesday track speed workout that I do on Tuesdays. So Central Park Track Club is a local competitive elite running team here in New York City. And I work primarily with the road team, who's coached by Tony Ruiz. And he's an amazing coach. He has so much energy. He helped coach me to a 3:19 marathon last year in Boston, and really helped be encouraging to me. And, when you hear him screaming in Central Park, you want to move faster. You want to, do your best. And he's the coach that leads the road team for Central Park Track Club, and I love the friendly competitiveness that the team has. They meet every Thursday night in Central Park, and I've been attending these workouts for the past year with the team. So hill workouts, tempo workouts on Thursday nights is what I do. So Tuesdays and Thursdays, those are my 2 workouts. Saturdays is when I do my weekend long run. So depending on how I feel after Tuesdays and Thursdays workouts, I might do the long run on Saturday, or I might do it on Sunday. So sometimes my body needs the extra day of recovery because my hip, or I might be dealing with some compensation from in other areas of my body because of the hip. So I might need that extra day of recovery. So if I don't do the run on Saturday, then I'll probably do it on Sunday. And the nice part about being a part of a big running team like Central Park Track Club is usually I can run with a buddy, and I've run a lot with my friend Ron or a couple of the other ladies on the running team, but we meet up, and it's a great way to pass the time by having a running buddy or someone else who's running Boston as well. So that's what I love about being on Central Park Track Club, is having buddies to run with. And then of course there are the times where I don't have anyone to run with, so I got to do a Sunday long run by myself, but that helps to build the mental confidence and the physical strength that's needed to run your fastest race. So now let's talk about everything that's not running, the good stuff, the stuff that helps me to be stronger and more efficient for marathons. So the most important thing, or the first thing that I usually start out with in the week, is strength training. I am a certified personal trainer, so that is something that I do for a living, and I have an understanding of the anatomy and physiology of the body. And strength training is a very important part of my life and what I do every day in my work life. So strength training I typically do on Mondays and Wednesdays, the days that I'm not running. Okay, so I'm extra careful not to lift too heavy. You want to make sure you have a balance with it, because you want to also save the legs for the days that you're running. For me, that's the Tuesdays and the Thursdays. So I do functional strength training, which means that most of the strength training that I do is on one leg or using one arm at a time, because running is balancing at all times. You're never standing on 2 feet when you're running, right? You're always on one leg at a time. So to be more efficient, you want to do exercises that are on one leg at each time, and then you can learn about how you might be stronger in one hip than the other, or you might even be stronger on one side of your core than the other. So doing exercises that require a single arm or single leg are really important. So I don't just do bicep curls because that really isn't going to help me be faster. I'm doing exercises that are going to help make me a faster and more efficient and less injury prone as a runner. Okay, so Mondays and Wednesdays, strength training. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, I do Pilates. So Pilates is a body weight type of movement exercise. It helps me to be more in tune and more connected with my mind and my body. And I do these workouts on Tuesdays and Thursdays, the mornings of the days that I'm going to run. And I find that it helps me to be more efficient. I also find that it helps me to have less pain if I am dealing with a flare-up from my hip labrum tear. So the Pilates helps me. Again, I'm doing a lot of single leg and single arm movements and a lot of working in my inner core. So working the transverse abdominis. You know, a lot of times people talk about having the superficial six pack. Pilates helps to work the muscles that are underneath the four or the six pack. So it really challenges the body, but it also helps for you to be more connected with the body in your mind. So if I start having a pain in my hip or dealing with some compensation, I know, hey, oh my goodness, my left glute isn't engaged, or my right side oblique isn't working the way it should be. And that is how Pilates helps me to be more connected and more efficient as a runner. The next part of my training regimen is cross training. So my favorite part of cross training is the rowing. I love rowing. I think it gives me the next or closest workout to running. I feel the burn. My body quivers after I do a 500-meter interval sprint on the rower. I feel an entire body workout, and it continually works my cardiovascular system. So rowing is a great way to feel like you're still getting the burn that you get in running. My least favorite way of doing cross training is aqua jogging. So I've spent a lot of time in the pool, probably more last year than I did this year. When I first found out about the labrum tear, I spent a lot of time in the pool, and it's a lot more gentle on the joints. Again, the cross training is to help give you less impact on your joints and less impact on your legs so that you don't have as many injuries, but you're still working the cardiovascular system. So cross training is very important. And again, I do the cross training as recovery instead of doing easy runs, which people typically do after the speed or the tempo workout. I do cross training. So the days that I'm doing strength training, then I'm also doing cross training with that. After a hard week of training, I go to see my physical therapist, Dr. Dan Giordano at Bespoke Treatments. Dan does a lot of manual work on my body whenever I have a hip flare-up or just dealing with some compensation in the body or just from the hard training. Dan helps to put me back together again. He uses treatments such as Graston or cupping. You probably saw Michael Phelps during the Olympics with big red marks on his shoulders. Sometimes I have those red marks on my legs. That's a form of therapy to help increase blood flow to the areas where I'm injured or I'm feeling maybe some pain. So Dan helps to keep me going and helps me to be efficient and running properly without pain. If you tend to be more injury prone and you're sick of being on the sidelines, I highly suggest this book. Okay, so it was a lot of information that I gave you, and for those viewers who are very detailed and want to know more about what I just shared with you, you can pick up the book Runner's World, Run Less, Run Faster, Become a Faster, Stronger Runner with the revolutionary 3-run-a-week training program. So I don't follow this book verbatim, but there are a lot of things that I do follow in this book or refer back to. It is a different way of training and can definitely help you to get to your new PR.